Ryan is a good man, but he does not understand this world. He never will. The words hit Ryan Mitchell like a physical blow. He stood frozen in the hallway of Sophia's Miami penthouse, his hand inches from the mahogany door, a gift box clutched in his other hand. The box was wrapped in paper covered with crayon drawings, little hearts and stars that his 9-year-old daughter Lily had spent 2 hours decorating. Through the door, he heard a man's voice respond low and comfortable. "Then why keep pretending you are wasting your time with him?" Ryan's breath caught in his throat. The gift suddenly felt ridiculous in his hands, a handmade picture frame with a photo of the three of them at Portland Rose Garden. Lily had painted little flowers around the border. She had been so proud of it. For 3 months, Sophia had been canceling their video calls. The excuse was always the same. "I am sorry, babe. Work is just crazy right now." Ryan had believed her. He had believed every word. That is why he had saved money for 2 months, picked up extra shifts at the airport just to afford this last-minute flight across the country. He wanted to surprise her, show her that he could make the effort, that distance did not have to mean distance. Now he stood in this expensive hallway with its marble floors and subtle lighting, realizing he had been the only one making the journey. The man's voice came again muffled, but clear enough. "Sophia, you are a partner at one of the top firms in Miami. He is a mechanic at a regional airport in Oregon. Daniel, it is complicated. It is not complicated. It is embarrassing." Ryan carefully, silently set the gift box down against the door. His hands were steadier than he expected. Maybe because the pain had not fully hit yet. Maybe because some part of him had been waiting for history to repeat itself. He turned and walked back toward the elevator. His footsteps made no sound on the thick carpet. The elevator arrived with a soft chime and he stepped inside, watching the doors close on the hallway where his heart had just shattered into pieces. The doorman in the lobby nodded pleasantly as Ryan passed. "Good evening, sir." Ryan did not respond. He just walked out into the Miami night, the humid air wrapping around him like a wet blanket. Palm trees swayed overhead. Somewhere nearby, people were laughing at a restaurant, clinking glasses, celebrating something. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Lily's text appeared on the screen. Did she like it? Is she surprised? Ryan stared at the message for a long moment. Then he typed back, "Flight home is at 8. See you tomorrow morning, sweetheart." He deleted the rest of his message 3 times before giving up. How do you tell your daughter that it happened again, that another woman decided they were not enough? The taxi ride to the airport was a blur. Ryan sat in the back seat watching Miami's glittering skyline pass by, all that wealth, all that glamour, all that world he did not belong to. Sophia had never said it directly, but he had always known. He had seen it in the way her colleagues looked at him when she introduced him at that conference. The polite smiles that did not reach their eyes. The way conversations would pause when they asked what he did for work. "I am an aircraft mechanic," he would say, and they would nod, already looking past him for someone more interesting. Ryan thought Sophia was different. She had seemed interested in his work, asked questions about the vintage engines he restored, laughed at his terrible jokes. When she visited Portland, she had worn jeans and helped Lily build a birdhouse in the backyard. She had seemed happy in his small house with its creaky porch and mismatched furniture, but maybe that was just pretending. Maybe she was slumming it, playing at a simpler life before returning to her real world of penthouse apartments and designer suites. He does not understand this world. He never will. She was right about that, at least. He did not understand a world where you could spend 8 months with someone and call them a good man in the same breath you dismissed them. The flight back to Portland was packed. Ryan sat wedged in a middle seat between a businessman who immediately fell asleep and a college student with headphones so loud Ryan could hear every beat. He stared at the seat back in front of him, trying not to think. But the thoughts came anyway. He thought about the month he had spent planning this surprise, the extra shifts he had picked up, the overtime he had begged for. His co-worker Tom had covered for him twice so he could leave early to catch the flight. He thought about Lily's face when he told her the plan. "You are going to fly all the way to Miami just to surprise her?" she had asked, eyes wide. "That is so romantic, Dad." He thought about the ring he had been looking at online. Nothing fancy. He could not afford fancy, but something simple and beautiful. He had imagined proposing at the rose garden where they had taken that photo. Maybe in the spring when everything was blooming. God, he was an idiot. The flight attendant came by with the drink cart. "Anything for you, sir? Just water, please." She handed him a tiny bottle and a cup of ice. Ryan drank it without tasting it. His phone was in airplane mode, which meant he could not receive messages, which meant he could not see whatever Sophia might be texting him right now. She had probably found the gift box by now. Probably wondering why he left without knocking, without saying anything. Or maybe she was relieved. Maybe she was celebrating with Daniel, whoever he was. Probably another lawyer. Someone who understood her world. Ryan closed his eyes and leaned his head back against the seat. This is Jennifer all over again, he thought. Different woman, same ending. You are not enough. You will never be enough. When the plane touched down at Portland International just after midnight, Ryan felt nothing. Not relief to be home, not sadness about what he had lost. Just a hollow emptiness where his heart used to be. He drove home through rain-slicked streets, the windshield wipers beating a steady rhythm. Portland in late spring was green and gray and familiar. His neighborhood was quiet, houses dark, except for porch lights left on by people who had someone coming home to them. His own porch light was on. Lily always turned it on when he was away, even when he told her he would be gone for days. "So you can find your way back," she had explained once. 9 years old, and she was already taking care of him. The house was dark inside except for the glow of the TV in the living room. Ryan found Lily asleep on the couch, still in her school clothes, her phone clutched in one hand. She had been waiting up for good news. He stood in the doorway for a moment watching her sleep. Her brown hair was spread across the pillow, her face peaceful in a way it rarely was when she was awake. Lily was always thinking, always watching, always trying to figure out the world and her place in it. She was too young to carry the weight she carried, too young to worry about her father the way she did. Ryan gently lifted her, careful not to wake her, and carried her down the hall to her bedroom. He tucked the quilt up to her chin, the same quilt her grandmother had made before she passed, and stood in the doorway for a long moment. 9 years old. Old enough to notice when he came home early. Old enough to ask questions he did not know how to answer. He could not sleep. He did not even try. Instead, he went to the garage, pulled the tarp off the vintage Lycoming engine he had been restoring for the past 2 years. It was a beautiful piece of machinery, a 1960s aircraft engine that had been sitting in a barn for decades before Ryan found it at an estate sale. Restoring engines was his therapy, had been ever since Jennifer left. There was something calming about the methodical work, the precision required, the satisfaction of bringing something broken back to life. He worked until 3 in the morning, checking valve clearances, cleaning carbon deposits, replacing worn gaskets. His hands were steady again by the time he finished. On the shelf above his workbench, he kept a small box of photos. He pulled it down and found the one he was looking for. Him, Jennifer, and baby Lily, taken at the hospital the day after she was born. They all looked so happy, so hopeful. Jennifer had been beautiful that day, despite the exhaustion. Her dark hair was a mess. Her face was pale, but she was smiling at the camera, like she had just been handed everything she ever wanted. 6 years later, she was gone. Left a note on the kitchen counter. "I need more than this small life. You and Lily deserve someone who wants to stay. I am not that person." That was it. After 10 years together, 3 years of marriage, that was all she had to say. Ryan had cried for 6 months after that. Cried in the shower so Lily would not hear. Cried in this garage surrounded by engine parts and the smell of oil. He went to therapy for 18 months, fought through depression that felt like drowning in slow motion. And he had sworn when he finally came out the other side that he would never let himself be that vulnerable again. So much for that. Lily's alarm went off at 6:30. Ryan already had pancakes on the griddle, her lunch packed in her favorite blue lunchbox, her backpack by the door with her homework inside. She appeared in the kitchen doorway, hair wild from sleep, eyes immediately suspicious. "You are home. Flight got in late last night." She slid into her chair at the kitchen table, watching him with those sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Did you see Sophia trip got cut short?" Ryan flipped a pancake, kept his back to her. "Dad, how was school yesterday? Did you finish your science project, Dad?" Her voice was firmer now. She did not want the present. Did she? Ryan set the plate in front of her. Golden brown pancakes just the way she liked them, with a little smiley face made of blueberries. "Sometimes things do not work out the way we plan, sweetheart." Lily picked up her fork but did not eat. She stared at the pancakes for a long moment, then looked up at him with eyes that were far too old for her face. "Mom left because we were not enough. Is Sophia leaving too?" The question landed like a punch to the gut. Ryan sat down across from her, abandoning any pretense of normalcy. "Victoria and I are different people," he said carefully. "We want different things. That is nobody's fault. That is not an answer. It is the only one I have got right now." They sat in silence. Lily ate a few bites of her pancakes, but Ryan could tell her heart was not in it. Outside, the school bus would be coming in 20 minutes. 20 minutes to figure out how to explain to his daughter that the world had broken him again. Before she left for school, Lily stopped at the door. She turned around and walked back to him, wrapping her arms around his waist in a hug so tight it almost hurt. "You are enough, Dad," she whispered against his chest. "You have always been enough. Do not let anyone make you think different." Then she grabbed her backpack and ran out to catch the bus. Ryan stood at the window watching her climb the steps, watching the bus pull away. His eyes were stinging, but he blinked it back. He had to get to work. He had bills to pay, a life to maintain, a daughter to raise. There was not time for falling apart. Before we continue, please tell us where in the world you are tuning in from. We love seeing how far our stories travel. Drop a comment below and let us know. Portland Regional Airport handled mostly small aircraft, private planes, charter flights, the occasional cargo run. The hangar where Ryan worked was all concrete floors, fluorescent lights, and the sharp smell of aviation fuel. It was not glamorous, but it was honest work. He had been here 5 years now, ever since he left Boeing. His coworkers knew he used to work there. It was hard to hide when you had 15 years of aerospace engineering experience and could diagnose engine problems by sound alone, but they did not ask questions. That was one of the things Ryan liked about them. He buried himself in work that day, rebuilt a Cessna's landing gear, replaced the fuel injectors on a Piper Cherokee, checked and rechecked his work with the precision that had made him one of Boeing's top engineers, back when that title still meant something to him. His phone showed 7 missed calls from Sophia, 4 voicemails. He deleted them all without listening. "Everything okay?" Tom asked during lunch break. Tom was in his 50s, a former Navy mechanic who had been at the airport for 20 years. He had a way of asking questions that did not demand answers. Ryan just nodded and went back to work. At 2 o'clock, his supervisor found him under a twin-engine Beechcraft. "Someone asking for you up front. Tell them I am busy." 20 minutes later, Sophia walked into the hangar anyway. Ryan heard her heels before he saw her, that distinctive click against concrete that did not belong in a place like this. He pulled himself out from under the aircraft and stood wiping his hands on a shop rag. She was beautiful, as always, Blonde hair, perfectly styled charcoal designer suit that probably cost more than he made in a week. Red heels that matched her lipstick. Every man in the building had found a reason to glance her way. Ryan. Her voice carried across the hangar, professional but strained. You left without even talking to me. He kept his focus on the shop rag cleaning grease from his fingers. Did not seem like there was much to say. I called you 7 times. I know. Sophia took a step closer, her heels clicking against the concrete. So you are just going to ignore me? After 8 months, Ryan finally looked up, meeting her eyes. I heard what I needed to hear, Sophia. That I do not understand your world. That I never will. He shrugged, the gesture more painful than he had intended. You know what? You are probably right. You do not know what you heard. You do not know the context. Before she could finish, another car pulled up outside the hangar. A sleek black Porsche, the kind that cost more than Ryan's house. A man climbed out, moving with the easy authority of someone who owned everything he touched. He was tall, dark-haired, wearing a suit that made Sophia's look modest. He walked straight toward her, ignoring everyone else in the building like they did not exist. There you are. His voice was smooth, cultured. Catherine has been trying to reach you. The Henderson deposition got moved up. Sophia's expression shifted, something tight and uncomfortable crossing her face. Daniel, this is not a good time. Daniel, the man from last night. The brother. Daniel's gaze landed on Ryan, standing there in his work clothes, grease on his hands, wrench still in his grip. His lip curled slightly, not quite a sneer, but close enough. So this is the mechanic. The word landed like an insult. Ryan's jaw tightened, but he kept his voice level. Can I help you with something, Daniel? Sophia's voice had warning in it. Stop. But Daniel was already smiling, that confident smile of a man who had never been told no. Sophia. This is exactly what I meant last night. He is a mechanic at a regional airport. You are a partner at Hartwell and Associates. You are arguing the Meridian Airlines case in federal court next month. He spread his hands. Do you really not see how this looks? The hangar had gone quiet. Ryan could feel his co-workers watching, could feel the weight of their attention. He picked up his wrench and turned back to the Beechcraft. We are done here. Ryan. Sophia's voice cracked. You should go, he said without looking at her. Your deposition got moved up. Sounds important. He heard her heels click once, twice, then stop. When she spoke, her voice was quiet, almost broken. This is not what you think. Does not matter what I think. Ryan ducked back under the aircraft. Go handle your case, Sophia. The Porsche door closed. Then the other door. Then the engine started and the sound faded as they drove away. Tom wandered over, eventually handed Ryan a fresh shop rag. That was rough. It is fine. That her brother Ryan shrugged. Tom was quiet for a moment. For what it is worth, she looked pretty torn up. Ryan did not respond. He just kept working, kept focusing on the machinery in front of him because machinery made sense. Machinery did not lie to you, did not make you feel like you were not enough, did not show up at your workplace with her brother to drive the knife in deeper. He stayed late that night, worked through his break, worked until his back screamed and his hands ached. When he finally clocked out, the sun had set and the parking lot was empty except for his truck. His phone rang as he was unlocking the door. Unknown number, Oregon area code. He declined the call and drove home. Lily was sitting at the kitchen table when he got home, homework spread in front of her. She looked up as he walked in, her eyes immediately searching his face for clues. You okay? I am fine, kiddo. Did Sophia call Ryan set his keys on the counter? How did you know? You have that look. Lily closed her math book slowly. The same one you had after Mom left. like you are trying really hard to keep everything inside. He sat down across from her, his 9-year-old daughter reading him like an open book. Sometimes he forgot how perceptive she was. Sometimes he wished she was not. "We are not going to see her anymore, are we?" Lily asked. "No, sweetheart, we are not." Lily nodded, slowly processing. When she spoke again, her voice was matter-of-fact in that way children have when they are stating truths adults try to avoid. "It is the same as Mom. They think you are settling. They think we are not enough." "Lily." "Dad." "I am 9. Not stupid." She met his eyes steadily, and for a moment she looked so much like her mother that it took his breath away. But her words were all her own. "You know what, though? They are wrong. You are not settling. You are here. Every morning, every night, every soccer practice, every science project. That is not settling. That is choosing." Ryan felt something crack open in his chest, something he had been holding together through sheer force of will. "When did you get so smart?" he managed. "I have always been smart." A small smile crossed her face. "You are just slow at noticing." They ordered pizza for dinner. Lily beat him at chess 3 games in a row, which she celebrated with a victory dance around the living room. They watched a documentary about black holes that Lily had been begging to see, and she fell asleep on the couch before it was half over. Ryan carried her to bed, tucked her in, then went back to the garage. The Lycoming engine sat on his workbench, patient and waiting. It was the same type of engine he had worked on at Boeing back when he was someone else entirely. Back when he had a corner office and a team of engineers and a wife who liked to tell people at parties that her husband was kind of a big deal in aerospace. He picked up a wrench and started working. The memories came whether he wanted them or not. His career at Boeing had been everything he had dreamed of as a kid, lying on his back in the grass watching planes cross the sky. He had started as a junior engineer at 24, fresh out of college with a head full of ideas. By 30, he was leading teams solving problems that had stumped veterans twice his age. Jennifer had loved it. The prestige, the salary, the company events where she could wear designer dresses and drink champagne with executives' wives. She had glowed at those parties, laughing and charming everyone she met. Then Lily was born. Ryan had expected things to change. Of course, they would change. They had a baby now, but he had not expected Jennifer to pull away so completely. She struggled with motherhood in ways he did not understand, ways she could not or would not explain. The baby's crying drove her to tears. The endless feeding and changing and comforting seemed to drain something vital from her. "I did not know it would be like this," she said once, staring at Lily's crib with an expression Ryan could not read. "I did not know I would feel so trapped." He tried to help. He took over night feedings, changed diapers, rocked Lily to sleep, while Jennifer sat in the dark living room staring at nothing. He suggested therapy. She went twice and then stopped. And then, when Lily was 3, Jennifer met someone at a Boeing event. A venture capitalist with a penthouse in Seattle and a yacht in the San Juan Islands. 3 months later, she was gone. The note she left was still burned into Ryan's memory. "I need more than this small life. You and Lily deserve someone who wants to stay. I am not that person." He had given up everything for that small life. When Boeing offered him a promotion that required relocating to South Carolina, he had said no. More money, bigger title, but it meant traveling 60% of the time. Lily had just lost her mother. She needed him present, not jetting around the country. So he stepped back, took a demotion, eventually left altogether when the politics became unbearable and the memories became too painful. He moved to Portland for a fresh start, took the mechanic job because it let him be home every night and rebuilt his life from the ashes of everything he had lost. The first year after Jennifer left was the darkest of his life. Some nights he sat in this garage until dawn, crying so hard his whole body shook. He went to therapy for 18 months, forced himself to take the medication his doctor prescribed, fought through depression that felt like drowning in slow motion, and eventually, slowly, he found peace. Not happiness exactly, but acceptance. A quiet life with his daughter, a job that kept his hands busy, weekends spent restoring engines and watching Lily grow into this remarkable person. He thought he had healed. Now, sitting in his garage at midnight, he realized he had just buried the wound. The pain was still there, right where he had left it, waiting for someone like Sophia to come along and tear it open again. Ryan was checking spark plug gaps when his phone rang. Almost 11 at night. Oregon area code, but not one he recognized. Against his better judgment, he answered. "Hello, Mr. Mitchell." A woman's voice, professional and crisp. "This is Catherine Hayes from Hartwell and Associates. I apologize for calling so late, but we have an urgent situation." Ryan sat up straighter, his guard immediately rising. "I think you have the wrong number. You are Ryan Mitchell, former senior engineer at Boeing Commercial Airplanes," Catherine continued, "specializing in flight control systems and black box data analysis." The words hung in the air. Ryan had not used that title in 5 years. How did you get this number? Miss Hartwell provided it. Of course she did. Ryan's jaw tightened. "I am not interested in whatever. Mr. Mitchell, please. This is not about Miss Hartwell. It is about the Meridian Airlines case. Flight 447. Ryan paused. He had seen the news coverage, of course. Everyone had. The crash had killed 127 people 18 months ago, passengers crew a flight full of families heading home for the holidays. The investigation had been ongoing ever since, with lawyers and experts arguing about who was to blame. "We are going to trial in 9 days, Catherine continued. "Our expert witness just withdrew. We need someone who can analyze the flight data recorder information, and every qualified expert in the country either has conflicts of interest or is already working for the plaintiff. Then hire someone from overseas. We have tried. Immigration issues, scheduling conflicts, the timeline is impossible." Catherine's voice took on an edge of desperation. "Mr. Mitchell, 127 people died in that crash. Their families have been fighting for answers for 2 years. The maintenance company that serviced that aircraft falsified inspection records. We can prove it, but only if someone with your expertise can explain the flight data to a jury." Ryan closed his eyes. He wanted to hang up. Every instinct told him to hang up, to stay far away from anything connected to Sophia Hartwell. But 127 families, 127 people who got on a plane expecting to land safely and never made it home. The maintenance company falsified records, he asked quietly. "That is what we believe. The data is encrypted, highly technical. We need someone who can not only analyze it but explain it in terms a jury can understand." Ryan thought about the families, mothers and fathers waiting for answers. Children who had lost parents, the pilot and co-pilot who might be blamed for something that was not their fault. "Send me the preliminary files," he said, finally. "I will look at them. No promises. The files are encrypted at a level that requires in-person access. You would need to come to Miami." "Miami. Of course, I will think about it. Mr. Mitchell, I said I will think about it." He hung up before she could say anything else. The garage was quiet except for the tick of the cooling engine and the distant sound of rain starting on the roof. Ryan sat there for a long moment, staring at nothing. Who was that? He turned. Lily stood in the doorway in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes. "I did not know you were awake. I heard the phone." She padded across the concrete floor in her bare feet and climbed onto the stool next to his workbench. Was it Sophia Nummer? Someone from her law firm? "They want me to help with a case." What kind of case? Ryan hesitated, but Lily was watching him with those sharp eyes, waiting for the truth. He told her about Flight 447, about the families waiting for justice, about the falsified records, and the need for an expert. When he finished, Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she said 127 families. That is a lot of people waiting for answers. I know. Is Sophia going to be there? Probably. Lily looked at him steadily. Sometimes doing the right thing means being uncomfortable, Dad. You taught me that. She hopped off the stool, kissed his cheek, and padded back toward the house. At the door, she turned. Whatever you decide, I will support you. But those families deserve the truth. And you are the one who can give it to them. Then she was gone, leaving Ryan alone with the engine and the rain, and a decision that suddenly felt a lot more complicated than it should. 3,000 miles away, in a penthouse apartment overlooking Biscayne Bay, Sophia Hartwell sat alone in the dark. The gift box Ryan had left outside her door was open in her lap. Inside was a hand-painted picture frame decorated with little hearts and stars in a child's careful hand. The photo showed the three of them, Ryan, Sophia, and Lily, at the Portland Rose Garden, laughing at something off-camera. Lily had painted flowers around the border, pink and purple and yellow, slightly lopsided but filled with love. Sophia was crying. She had been crying off and on for 2 days. She should call him again. She should get on a plane and fly to Portland and explain everything. But Daniel's words kept echoing in her head. He is a mechanic. You are a partner. Do you really not see how this looks? Daniel meant well. He always meant well. That was the worst part. Sophia closed her eyes and let her mind drift back to where it always went when she needed to understand herself, back to the day everything changed. She was 10 years old when her father left. She remembered coming home from school excited about a spelling test she had aced and finding her mother collapsed on the kitchen floor, sobbing. The house felt different somehow. Emptier. "Where is Dad?" Sophia had asked. Her mother could not answer, could not do anything but cry. It was Daniel, 18 years old and home from his first year of college, who finally explained. Their father had left, cleaned out the bank accounts, packed his bags, and run off with his secretary to start a new life somewhere far away from the family he had promised to love forever. He left a note, too. "I have found someone who makes me happy. I hope someday you will understand." Sophia never understood. She still did not 24 years later. Her mother never recovered. The breakdown that started that day stretched into months, then years. In and out of treatment facilities, good days followed by terrible ones, a woman shattered by betrayal who could never quite put the pieces back together. Daniel had stepped up, dropped out of college, got a job, raised Sophia himself. He worked days and went to law school at night, studying on the bus, sleeping 4 hours if he was lucky. He made sure Sophia had food and clothes and help with her homework. He showed up for every school play, every parent-teacher conference, every moment that mattered. He built Hartwell and Associates from nothing, brick by brick, fueled by a determination to give Sophia the life their father had stolen from them. And he protected her, fiercely, relentlessly, sometimes suffocatingly. Every boyfriend had to pass Daniel's inspection. Every friend was vetted. He drove away anyone he deemed unworthy, which, as Sophia climbed higher in the firm, and the world became almost everyone. "You are too trusting," he would say. "People will take advantage. I will not let that happen." At 28, Sophia had gotten engaged to Christopher Hayes. Wealthy family, good connections, Daniel approved. For 6 months, she had planned the wedding, imagined the future, let herself believe she had found her person. Then she discovered Christopher was only interested in merging their family's law practices. He had been having an affair the entire time with a paralegal at his firm. When she confronted him, he had laughed. "Come on, Sophia. You did not think this was actually about love, did you?" After that, Sophia threw herself into work, built walls around her heart so high and thick that no one could possibly climb them. She dated occasionally men Daniel approved of, men who understood her world, but she never let anyone in. Not really. Then she met Ryan Mitchell at an aviation industry conference 8 months ago. He was presenting on safety protocols, something technical that she did not fully understand, but found fascinating anyway. During the Q&A, she asked a question that revealed her ignorance, and instead of embarrassing her, he had taken the time to explain it clearly, patiently, with genuine enthusiasm. Afterward, they had gotten coffee, then dinner. Then he had walked her back to her hotel and asked if he could see her again, and something about the way he asked, earnest and a little nervous, like her answer actually mattered, cracked something open in her chest. Ryan did not know who she was, did not care about her family name or her firm or her money. He talked to her like a person, not a prize to be won or a connection to be leveraged. He asked about her childhood, her dreams, her favorite books. He remembered the small things she mentioned and brought them up later. And he had Lily, this bright, fierce, wonderful child who had clearly inherited her father's kindness and added her own special spark. Watching Ryan with his daughter, seeing the love between them, made Sophia want something she had stopped believing was possible. But she had kept it secret. All 8 months she had hidden the relationship from Daniel, knowing exactly what he would say, knowing he would find a way to destroy it. And then Daniel had found out. He had shown up at her apartment that night, furious, a mechanic, Sophia. "After everything I have done for you, this is who you choose." She had tried to explain, tried to make him see Ryan the way she did. "He does not understand this world," she had said, meaning their world, the backstabbing, the manipulation, the constant jockeying for position. "He never will." She was trying to protect Ryan from Daniel, trying to explain why she had kept the relationship secret. But Daniel had pushed back. "Then why keep pretending you are wasting your time?" And Sophia had finally said the words she had been holding inside for months. "Because I love him, Daniel. Really love him. And I do not care what you think." But Ryan had already walked away. He had heard the first part and missed the rest. Now Sophia sat in her penthouse with Lily's handmade picture frame in her lap, and she understood something with terrible clarity. She had been so afraid of Daniel destroying her relationship that she had destroyed it herself. The door to her apartment opened. Catherine walked in, tablet in hand. He agreed to look at the files. Sophia's heart leaped. Ryan. Yes. He is thinking about coming to Miami. Catherine hesitated. He did not sound happy about it. Of course he did not. Sophia wiped her eyes, tried to pull herself together. Catherine, I need to explain to him. I need him to understand what really happened. Catherine sat down across from her. Maybe let the work speak first. Show him who you really are through the case. Let him see you fight for those families. Sophia looked at the picture frame, at the photo of the three of them laughing. I am not sure I deserve another chance. Maybe not, Catherine said gently. But those 127 families deserve justice. And right now, that is what matters. Ryan made his decision at 4 a.m, sitting in his garage with the lie-calming engine and the sound of rain on the roof. He was going to Miami. Not for Sophia, he still did not know what to think about Sophia, but for the families, for the truth, for the mechanic in him who knew that if maintenance records were falsified, people needed to know. When Lily woke up at 6:30, he told her his decision. She listened quietly, eating her pancakes, asking the questions that mattered. How long will you be gone? A week, maybe 2. Depends on the trial. Can I come? Ryan hesitated. He had been planning to ask Mrs. Patterson next door to watch her the way she always did when he had to work late. It is almost summer break, Lily pointed out. I will only miss a few days of school, and I have never been to Miami. Sophia is going to be there. I know. Lily set down her fork. Dad, I am going to have to meet her eventually. If she is horrible, I will know. If she is not. She shrugged, looking far too mature for 9 years old. Maybe we should find out. So it was settled. Ryan called his supervisor, explained the situation. His boss barely hesitated. Take the time. You have never asked for anything in 5 years, Ryan. We will manage. He packed his old Boeing briefcase, had not used it in years, had to dig it out from the back of the closet. Inside, he found his old ID badge, a photo of himself at an engineering conference, young and confident and full of certainty about his place in the world. Different life, different man. But maybe that man still had something to offer. They flew out that afternoon. Lily spent the flight reading a book about black holes while Ryan reviewed the preliminary case files on his laptop. Even the basic information was damning. Flight 447 had experienced a catastrophic failure in its elevator trim system, causing the pilots to lose control during descent. The maintenance company, Pacific Maintenance Corporation, claimed they had inspected the system 3 days before the crash and found no issues. But something in the flight data recorder did not match their story. Something Ryan could not quite identify yet, but it was there. A pattern, an anomaly, a truth waiting to be uncovered. 127 people. Families destroyed. Lives ended. And somewhere in this data was the proof of what really happened. Ryan closed his laptop as the plane began its descent into Miami. Whatever waited for him there, the case, the truth. Sophia, he was ready to face it. Or at least he hoped he was. Miami hit Ryan like a wall of heat and humidity the moment they stepped off the plane. Palm trees, Art Deco buildings, expensive cars everywhere. It was a different world from Portland's gray skies and evergreen forests. Lily pressed her face to the taxi window, taking it all in. It is so bright here. Welcome to Florida. Hartwell and Associates occupied the top 5 floors of a gleaming downtown tower. The lobby was all marble floors, modern art, and the kind of hushed elegance that made Ryan suddenly aware of his worn jeans and simple button-down shirt. This is fancier than the museum, Dad Lily whispered. They were escorted to the 40th floor by a receptionist who smiled professionally and said nothing about Ryan's appearance. The conference room they entered was enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view of Biscayne Bay that probably cost more than Ryan's house. Catherine Hayes was waiting for them, a sharp-featured woman in her 30s with the efficient energy of someone who never stopped moving. Mr. Mitchell, thank you for coming. She shook his hand firmly. And this must be Lily. I have heard wonderful things. Lily shook her hand with the seriousness of a CEO closing a deal. Thank you for having us. Catherine introduced the rest of the legal team. 6 attorneys, several paralegals assistants whose names Ryan immediately forgot. He noticed Sophia's absence but did not comment. Miss Hartwell is in a deposition, Catherine explained, perhaps reading his expression. She will join us shortly. In the meantime, I will get Lily set up in the adjacent room. We have snacks, Wi-Fi, and I heard you like astronomy. Lily's eyes lit up. Do you have books? I have a whole library. With Lily settled, Ryan got to work. The flight data recorder information was dense, technical, the kind of analysis he used to do in his sleep. But his skills were rusty, and the stakes were higher than they had ever been at Boeing. He started with the basics. The elevator trim system controlled the aircraft's pitch nose up, nose down. The data showed fluctuations beginning about 15 minutes before the crash. Small at first, then increasingly erratic. The maintenance logs from Pacific Maintenance claimed the system had been inspected 3 days before the flight. Everything was recorded as normal. Inspection complete, no issues found, aircraft cleared for service. But something in the data did not match. Ryan pulled up the technical specifications, compared them to the recorded values. The signature was wrong. The numbers showed a pattern consistent with a system that had not been properly maintained in months, maybe longer. Someone had falsified the records. He was almost certain of it now. The conference room door opened. Ryan looked up and his breath caught. Sophia stood in the doorway. Blonde hair pulled back in a professional twist red dress that fit her perfectly, exhaustion evident in the shadows under her eyes. She looked beautiful and tired and achingly familiar. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Catherine stepped in. Miss Hartwell, Mr. Mitchell has found significant irregularities in the maintenance data. Sophia nodded, her expression carefully controlled. Show me. They worked together for the next 4 hours. Professional, distant. Sophia asked sharp questions. Ryan provided technical answers. They did not talk about anything personal, did not acknowledge the tension that filled every silence. But Ryan noticed things. The way Sophia's voice softened when she mentioned the families. The way she pushed back against her own team when they suggested compromises that might weaken the case. The way she cared, genuinely deeply cared about getting justice for 127 people she had never met. This was not the dismissive socialite Daniel had implied. This was someone fighting for what mattered. By the end of the day, Ryan had identified 3 major inconsistencies in the maintenance records. Evidence that would likely be enough to prove negligence. Evidence that might finally give those families the answers they deserved. As the team packed up for the night, Ryan went to collect Lily from the adjacent room. He found her deep in conversation with someone, and his footsteps slowed when he realized who. Sophia sat on the floor next to Lily, her designer dress wrinkled from sitting cross-legged, pointing at something in Lily's astronomy book. See, that is the Andromeda Galaxy, Sophia was saying. In about 4 billion years, it is going to collide with our Milky Way. Lily's eyes were wide. You know about space. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was your age. Sophia smiled, and it transformed her face. But I was terrible at math. I am good at math, Lily said. Maybe I will be an astronaut for both of us. I think that is an excellent plan. Ryan stood in the doorway watching. Part of him wanted to pull Lily away to protect her from getting attached to someone who might hurt them again. Part of him saw something genuine in Sophia's face, something that matched the woman he thought he had known. Lily noticed him first. Dad. Sophia knows all the constellations. Sophia stood quickly uncertain, smoothing her wrinkled dress. She is wonderful, Ryan. You have done an amazing job raising her. An awkward silence stretched between them. Then Lily, with the blunt honesty of childhood, broke it. Are you the one who made my dad sad? Sophia flinched. Ryan started to intervene. Lily. No, Dad. I need to know. Lily looked at Sophia steadily, without malice, but without mercy either. My mom left because she wanted a bigger life. Are you going to do the same thing? Sophia knelt down to Lily's level. When she spoke, her voice was thick with emotion. My dad left when I was a little older than you. Said he needed something more than our family could give him. Lily's eyes widened. This was not what she had expected. I know how much it hurts, Sophia continued. And I would never ever want to make you feel that way. Lily studied her face for a long moment. Then she said, But you hurt my dad. I know. Tears were streaming down Sophia's face now. And I am so sorry. There is a lot I need to explain to him. Things I should have told him a long time ago. Lily considered this. Then explain. We came all this way. The least you can do is be honest. She took Ryan's hand and walked out, leaving Sophia standing alone in the room crying. In the elevator, Lily was quiet. Ryan did not know what to say. Finally, as they reached the lobby, she looked up at him. She seems sad, Dad. Not the kind of sad people fake. The real kind. Yeah, Ryan said quietly. She does. That night, after Lily fell asleep in their hotel room, there was a knock on Ryan's door. Sophia stood in the hallway. She had changed into jeans and a simple blouse, her hair loose around her shoulders. Without the armor of professional clothes, she looked younger, more vulnerable. Can we talk? She asked. Please. They ended up on the hotel rooftop, sitting on a bench overlooking the city lights. Miami glittered below them, beautiful and distant, like a world neither of them quite belonged to. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Sophia took a deep breath. My father left when I was 10 years old. Ryan turned to look at her. Her eyes were fixed on the horizon, her hands twisted in her lap. I came home from school one day and found my mother on the kitchen floor crying. My father had emptied our bank accounts, packed his bags, and run off with his secretary. He left a note that said he had found someone who made him happy. Her voice was steady, but Ryan could see the old wound beneath the words. My mother never recovered. She had a breakdown that lasted years, in and out of treatment facilities, good days and terrible days. She was shattered, and no one could put her back together. I am sorry, Ryan said quietly. Daniel raised me. Sophia's voice caught. He was 18. He dropped out of college, got a job, put himself through law school at night. He made sure I had everything I needed. He showed up for every school play, every parent-teacher conference. He built this firm from nothing, and he did it all to give me the life our father stole from us. She finally turned to look at Ryan. He is overprotective because of what happened. He drives away anyone he thinks might hurt me. He has been doing it my whole life, including me, including you. Sophia wiped her eyes. When he found out about us, he was furious. He showed up at my apartment that night, the night you came to surprise me. He had been berating me for hours. Ryan's jaw tightened. And you told him I do not understand your world? Because you do not. Sophia's voice was urgent now. And I mean that as a compliment, Ryan. My world is cutthroat. It is manipulation and backstabbing, and people who smile while they stab you in the back. I did not want you anywhere near it. I was trying to protect you from Daniel, from all of it. What I said, he does not understand this world. I meant he does not understand how vicious my world can be. I was trying to explain why I had kept our relationship secret. Ryan was quiet, processing. What you did not hear, Sophia continued, her voice breaking, was what I said next. Daniel asked why I kept pretending, and I told him the truth. I told him I love you, really love you, and that I do not care what he thinks. The words landed like a physical blow. Ryan stared at her. I was ready to walk away from everything for you, Sophia whispered. The firm, Daniel's approval, all of it. But you had already left. You never heard me say it. Silence stretched between them. Below, Miami pulsed with life and light and the energy of 1,000,000 people living their own complicated stories. Then, why all the canceled calls, Ryan finally asked. The distance, Daniel. Sophia's face hardened. He threatened to fire every associate at the firm if I kept seeing you. Dozens of people would have lost their jobs because of me. I was trying to find a way out without destroying their careers. She laughed bitterly. I should have just told you the truth. I was scared. I am always scared. Ryan thought about all the pain of the past week, the humiliation at the hangar, the sleepless nights, the look on Lily's face when she asked if Sophia was leaving too. My ex-wife left because she wanted more, he said slowly. You are telling me you want less. I want real. Sophia turned to face him fully. You and Lily, that is the realest thing I have ever seen. I grew up in glass towers with no warmth. You built a home with pancakes and porch lights and handmade picture frames. Her voice cracked. That is not less Ryan. That is everything. Ryan did not respond immediately. His mind was racing, trying to reconcile the woman sitting next to him with the one he had imagined over the past week. Finally, he spoke. I need time. We need to get through this trial first. 127 families are depending on us. Sophia nodded, tears streaming down her face. I will wait, however long it takes. They sat together in silence as the city lights glittered below two broken people who might, just might, be able to put each other back together. The federal courthouse in downtown Miami was a massive building of granite and glass designed to intimidate. Ryan felt its weight as he walked through the security checkpoint, Lily's hand in his. The courtroom was packed. 127 families filled the gallery, parents, spouses, children who had lost loved ones. Their faces were a map of grief and hope, the particular exhaustion of people who had been waiting 2 years for answers. Ryan saw them, and suddenly this was not about him and Sophia anymore. It was not about his broken heart or her complicated family. It was about justice. Daniel Hartwell arrived as lead counsel, his expensive suit and confident stride commanding attention. When he saw Ryan, his expression flickered surprise, perhaps, or calculation. "So you are actually going through with this," Daniel said. 127 people died because someone cut corners. That is not a charade. Daniel's eyes narrowed. "After this trial, stay away from my sister." Ryan met his gaze steadily. "That is her choice, not yours." The trial began with opening arguments. The plaintiff's attorneys painted a picture of corporate negligence. Pacific Maintenance Corporation cutting corners, falsifying records, putting profits ahead of safety. The defense countered with technical jargon and reasonable doubt. When it was time for Ryan's testimony, he took the stand with the calm focus of a man who had spent 30 years working with aircraft. The defense attorneys attacked immediately. "Mr. Mitchell, you are currently employed as an aircraft mechanic at a regional airport, is that correct?" "That is correct. Not exactly a prestigious position for someone with your background." Objection. Sophia was on her feet. Relevance. "I will allow it," the judge said. "Answer the question." Ryan kept his voice steady. "I am an aircraft mechanic. I am also a former Boeing senior engineer with 15 years of experience in flight control systems. I have participated in over 200 crash investigations. My current job title does not change my expertise." He walked the jury through the evidence methodically using simple language and clear diagrams. He explained how the elevator trim system worked, what the flight data should have looked like, and what it actually showed. "The data signature is inconsistent with a properly maintained system," he said, pointing to the display. "These fluctuations indicate wear patterns that would have developed over months, not days. If the inspection had been performed as recorded, these issues would have been identified and corrected. And what does that tell you?" "It tells me that the inspection records were falsified. The aircraft was never properly inspected, and 127 people paid the price." The courtroom was silent. Ryan looked out at the gallery at the families who had been waiting so long for someone to tell the truth. A woman in the third row was crying silently. Ryan would learn later that she was the mother of the co-pilot, a young man who had been blamed for the crash by some media outlets. For 2 years, she had carried not just grief, but shame, wondering if her son had made a mistake that killed 126 other people. Ryan looked directly at her. The pilots did everything right. They fought to save that aircraft until the last second. This was not their fault. It was never their fault. The defense cross-examination was brutal. They questioned his credentials, his motives, his relationship with Sophia. They implied he was a biased witness, a failed engineer, a man with an axe to grind. Ryan stayed calm, answered every question with facts and data and the quiet confidence of someone who knew the truth. When he finally stepped down, 3 hours had passed. The jury looked exhausted but engaged. The families looked hopeful. Sophia caught his eye as he walked past her table. The relief in her expression was obvious. Whatever else was complicated between them, they had done this together. They had told the truth. The jury deliberated for only 4 hours. When the call came that they had reached a verdict, Ryan and Lily rushed to the courthouse. They squeezed into the packed gallery just as the jury filed back in. The foreman stood. "In the matter of the families of Flight 447 versus Pacific Maintenance Corporation and Regional Airways, we find the defendants liable for gross negligence resulting in wrongful death." The courtroom erupted. Families embraced, crying with relief. 2 years of fighting, of waiting, of wondering. And finally, they had their answer. Ryan watched Sophia at the counsel table. She remained professional controlled, but he could see her hands shaking. She had fought for this, fought for these families who had no one else. In the hallway afterward, the co-pilot's mother found Ryan. "You are the one who testified," she said, "about the data." "Yes, ma'am. My son was blamed by so many people. The media, the other families at first. They said it must have been pilot error." Her voice broke. "For 2 years I have carried that, wondering if my boy made a mistake that killed all those people." She took Ryan's hand. "You gave him his honor back. You told the truth. Thank you." She hugged him, a stranger connected by justice, and Ryan felt something shift in his chest. This was why he had come. Not for Sophia, not for himself. For this. For the truth. Lily watched from nearby, tears streaming down her face. Sophia watched too, seeing Ryan in a different light than before. Later, after the press cleared and the families dispersed, Daniel Hartwell approached Ryan. "You did good work up there." Ryan waited, expecting another threat, another warning to stay away, but Daniel surprised him. "I have spent 24 years protecting Sophia. After our father left, I promised myself no one would ever hurt her again." He looked down. "I became her shield, but somewhere along the way I became her prison. She does not need you to choose who she loves," Ryan said. "I know." Daniel's jaw tightened. "My father was a wealthy man, had everything, still walked out on us. I thought if I kept Sophia in our world with our kind of people, she would be safe." He laughed bitterly. "But Christopher was our kind of people, and he destroyed her." Ryan remembered what Sophia had told him about her failed engagement. The man who had only wanted her for business connections. "You came here for 127 strangers," Daniel continued. "Not for money. Not for her. Just because it was the right thing to do." He offered his hand. "Maybe I was wrong about what kind of man my sister needs." Ryan took it. The handshake was firm, a beginning of something that might eventually be understanding. The day after the verdict, Ryan took Lily to Miami Beach. They had both earned some rest, some time away from courtrooms and lawyers and complicated emotions. They built sandcastles. They collected shells. They jumped waves until Lily was laughing so hard she could barely stand. Then, as they sat on the sand watching the sun move across the sky, Lily got quiet. Ryan recognized that look. She was thinking, working something out. "Dad, I have been watching Sophia." "Oh yeah. She looks at you the way you look at your airplane engines." Lily tilted her head. "Like you are something worth taking care of." Ryan laughed despite himself. "That is an interesting comparison." "I am serious." Lily turned to face him. "Mom never looked at you like that. Even in the old pictures, she always looked like she was thinking about something else." The observation stung, but Ryan could not argue with it. Jennifer had always been looking past him toward something bigger, something more. "I was scared Sophia was going to be like Mom." Lily continued, "Leave us for something better." She drew quotation marks in the air. "But she already has better. The fancy apartment, the important job." And she looked at our messy hotel room like it was a palace. Lily paused. "Because we were in it." Ryan's throat tightened. "When did you get so perceptive? I have always been perceptive. You are just slow at noticing." "So what are you saying?" Lily leaned against him. "I think she might be one of the good ones, Dad. And if you want to give her another chance," she shrugged. "I am okay with that." Before Ryan could respond, movement caught his eye. Sophia was walking toward them across the sand, having gotten their location from Catherine. She had changed out of her professional clothes into a casual sundress and sandals. Without her armor, she looked nervous, uncertain. Lily waved. "We saved you a spot, but you have to help with the moat." Sophia's face broke into a smile, a real one, the kind that lit up her whole face. She sat down in the sand without hesitation, her designer dress getting dirty. She did not care at all. So Lily said, handing her a bucket, "The moat has to be deep enough that the water actually flows. Dad's technique is terrible." "Hey," Ryan protested. "It is true. You always make them too shallow." Sophia laughed. "Show me how it is done." The three of them worked together, building a sand castle that Lily deemed acceptable after extensive modifications. Ryan watched his daughter teach Sophia the finer points of sand architecture. Watched Sophia listen with genuine interest. Watched something click into place that he had not known was missing. Maybe this could work. Maybe different worlds could find a way to fit together. Time passed the way it always does, slowly when you are paying attention, impossibly fast when you are not. Sophia flew to Portland twice a month. She scheduled the visits like any other important meeting and protected the time fiercely. Ryan and Lily flew to Miami during school breaks. They made it work. This relationship stretched across 3,000 miles. It was not easy. There were missed calls and time zone confusions and nights when Ryan ached with loneliness. There were moments when Sophia's work pulled her away at the worst possible times, but there were also moments that made all the difficulty worth it. Sophia learning to make pancakes in Ryan's kitchen, burning 3 batches before getting it right. Ryan attending one of Sophia's trials, sitting in the gallery, and watching her command the courtroom with the same intensity she had shown during the Flight 447 case. Lily teaching Sophia the constellations in Ryan's backyard, the two of them lying on a blanket while Lily pointed out Orion and Cassiopeia and the smudge of Andromeda on the horizon. Sophia flew to Portland for Lily's soccer championship. Her team lost, but Sophia was there cheering from the sidelines, hugging Lily afterward and telling her she had played beautifully. "You came," Lily said, surprised. "I said I would." "People say a lot of things." "I know." Sophia knelt down to her level. "But I meant it. I will always mean it." Christmas was spent in Portland. Small tree, homemade ornaments, nothing fancy. Daniel sent gifts, but did not come. He was working on his own issues, his own understanding of what family actually meant. Maybe someday he would be ready to be part of their strange, blended world. For now, showing up was what mattered. The biggest change came in February. Sophia called Ryan one evening, her voice strange. I turned down the managing partner position. Ryan sat up straighter. "What? That is the job you have been working toward for years." "I know, but it would have meant more hours, more travel, less time for anything else." She was quiet for a moment. "I told Daniel I am restructuring my role, less courtroom, more flexibility. I want to have a life, Ryan, a real one, with you and Lily." "What did Daniel say?" "He said I was making a mistake." She laughed softly. "Same thing he always says. But I told him that maybe I am. Maybe that is the point." Ryan felt something warm spread through his chest. "Sophia, I am not giving up my career. I am not moving to Oregon. Not yet. But I am making space, starting with being there for everything that matters. That is a big decision. It is the right one." Her voice softened. "I spent my whole life building walls, glass towers to hide in. You did not try to climb over them. You just sat outside and waited. You showed me that strength is not about armor. It is about having the courage to take it off." They talked for another hour that night, about the future, about what they wanted, about how to build something real across the distance that still separated them. It would not be easy, but nothing worth having ever was. Spring came to Portland with cherry blossoms and rain. Lily turned 10, and Sophia flew in for the birthday party. 9 of Lily's friends hopped up on pizza and sugar running through the house while Ryan tried to maintain order, and Sophia sat on the floor with them answering questions about being a lawyer and what Miami was like. "Do you see alligators?" one of the kids asked. "Sometimes, but usually they leave people alone. That is so cool. Oregon does not have alligators." Oregon has other things. Mountains, forests, amazing people. She looked at Ryan when she said it, and he felt his heart do something complicated in his chest. After the party, after Lily's friends had been picked up and the house was quiet again, Lily sat on the couch with her birthday presents spread around her. Sophie. Sophia looked up from helping clean frosting off the coffee table. Yeah, can I call you that instead of Sophie, I mean? Lily fidgeted with the ribbon from one of her presents. It is more family. Sophia went very still. You want to call me Sophie? If that is okay. I know it is not. Lily trailed off. I mean, I am not saying you are my mom or anything. That is different. But you are something important. And Sophia seems too formal for that. Tears spilled down Sophia's face. She crossed the room and knelt in front of Lily. Sophie is perfect, she whispered. I would love that. Lily hugged her. Over her daughter's shoulder, Ryan met Sophie's eyes. She was crying and laughing at the same time, and Ryan had never seen her look more beautiful. It was not Mom. That title was sacred, complicated belonging to a woman who had walked away. But this was something real and growing, and theirs. Summer arrived, and with it a question that had been building for months. Sophie asked if Lily could spend part of her vacation in Miami. There was a marine biology camp she thought Lily might love. 2 weeks of dolphins and sea turtles and ocean exploration. I would take vacation time, Sophie said. Be there the whole time. We could explore the city together. And I would have her call you every night. Ryan's first instinct was to say no. 2 weeks was a long time. Miami was far away. What if something happened? But Lily was bouncing with excitement, already looking up the camp online, already planning which shorts and t-shirts to pack. Let me think about it, Ryan said. He thought about it for 3 days, talked to Sophie about safety plans and emergency contacts, talked to Lily about responsibility and checking in. In the end, it was not really a question. Sophie was trying to build a relationship with his daughter that was not dependent on Ryan, a bond that would last. That was exactly what he had always wanted for Lily. People who loved her truly loved her beyond just her father. Okay, he said finally. But you call me every single night. The 2 weeks Lily spent in Miami were the longest of Ryan's life. The house felt empty without her chatter, without her footsteps on the stairs, without her voice calling Dad from another room. But every night she called. She told him about the dolphins she had seen, the turtle rescue she had visited, the jellyfish that had stung her leg. It barely hurt, Dad, do not worry. She told him about the restaurants Sophie had taken her to, the beach where they had watched the sunset, the late-night conversations about stars and dreams and the future. I miss you, she said on the last night. I miss you too, kiddo. More than you know. But Dad, her voice was thoughtful. I am really glad I came. Sophie is really good. I think she might be a keeper. Ryan laughed, wiping his eyes. Yeah, I think she might be. When Lily came home, tanned and happy and full of stories, she hugged Ryan for a full minute without letting go. I love you, Dad. I love you too, sweetheart. She pulled back, looking up at him with those sharp eyes. So when are you going to ask her? Ask her what? Lily rolled her eyes with all the dramatic exasperation of a 10-year-old. Dad? Seriously. When are you going to propose? Ryan planned it for months. Or rather, he and Lily planned it together. It has to be at the Rose Garden, Lily insisted. That is where the picture was taken, the one in the frame I made. It is perfect. She was not wrong. The Portland Rose Garden in late spring was a symphony of color and fragrance, thousands of blooms in every shade imaginable. It was where they had taken that photo, the three of them laughing at something off camera. The photo that Lily had framed and decorated with crayon hearts. The photo Sophie had cried over in her empty penthouse, not knowing if she would ever see them again. Sophie flew in on a Friday, thinking it was just a normal visit. They picked her up at the airport, Lily practically vibrating with excitement. "What is wrong with her?" Sophie asked, watching Lily bounce in the back seat. "Sugar," Ryan said. "Too much sugar." The rose garden was quieter than usual as the sun began to set. They walked the paths together, Sophie's hand in Ryan's, Lily running ahead to examine particularly beautiful flowers. They reached the exact spot from the photo, a bench overlooking a sweep of red and pink roses, the city visible in the distance. "I love this place," Sophie said softly. "It is so peaceful." "Yeah." Ryan's heart was pounding. "It is." Lily materialized at his elbow. "Dad." Now, patience. "Dad." Sophie was looking between them with growing suspicion. "What is going on?" Ryan took a deep breath. "Here goes everything. 1 year ago I flew to Miami to surprise you. I heard something through your door that shattered me. I thought it meant we were over." Sophie's expression shifted, old pain flickering across her face. "But I did not hear the whole story." Ryan took her hands. "I heard the part where you said I did not understand your world. I did not hear the part where you said you loved me." "Ryan." "Lily taught me something that day. When I came home destroyed, she told me I was not settling. I was choosing. Choosing to be present. Choosing to be there for the people who matter." He squeezed her hands. "And every day since then I have chosen you." He knelt down on the path. Lily produced a small velvet box from her backpack with the pride of a magician completing a trick. This was Grandma's ring. "Dad has been keeping it for someone special." She opened it, revealing a simple diamond on a gold band. "He asked me if I thought you were special enough." Sophie was crying now. "What did you say I said yes?" Lily smiled. "As long as you promise to stay." Ryan took the ring from the box. "Sophie Hartwell, I do not have a penthouse. I do not have a Mercedes. What I have is a daughter who loves you, a house with a creaky porch and a heart that is completely yours." He looked up at her. "Will you marry us?" Sophie laughed through her tears. "Us? Well, yeah." Lily crossed her arms. "It is a package deal. The dad and the kid." Sophie knelt down right there in the garden, pulling them both into her arms. The ring was still in Ryan's hand, not yet on her finger, but it did not matter. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes." Lily cheered so loud that people on nearby paths turned to look. Ryan slipped the ring onto Sophie's finger, and it fit perfectly, like it had been waiting for her all along. They married 6 months later in Ryan's backyard. It was not fancy. String lights hung from the oak tree. Wildflowers filled mason jars on every surface. Folding chairs lined up on the grass for 50 guests, co-workers from Ryan's airport, lawyers from Sophie's firm, friends and neighbors who had watched this unlikely love story unfold. Daniel came. He sat in the second row, still awkward, still learning, but present. That was enough. Maybe someday they would be closer. For now, showing up was what mattered. Lily served as flower girl and co-best person, refusing to choose between the roles. She walked down the aisle, scattering petals, then took her place at Ryan's side. "Ready, Dad. Ready." Sophie appeared at the end of the aisle, and Ryan forgot how to breathe. She was beautiful, not because of the dress or the flowers or the perfect lighting of a spring sunset. She was beautiful because she was here, because she had chosen him, because somehow 2 broken people had found a way to make each other whole. They wrote their own vows. "I spent years believing I was not enough," Ryan said. "That my small life was a failure. You showed me that small does not mean less. It means focused, intentional. You helped me see my life clearly, and then you chose to be part of it." Sophie wiped her eyes. "My whole life I built walls, glass towers to hide in. You did not climb over them. You sat outside and waited. You showed me that strength is not about armor. It is about having the courage to take it off." When it was time for the rings, Lily stepped forward holding the bands on a small pillow she had decorated herself. "I have something to say too," she announced. Ryan blinked. This was not part of the plan. "Lily, when my mom left, I thought it was because we were not good enough." Lily's voice was steady, carrying across the quiet yard. "I thought there was something wrong with us that made people want to leave." 50 guests held their breath. Then Sophie came along. She has a fancy job in a big apartment and could probably marry anyone. Lily looked at Sophie. "But she picked us. The messy house, the burned pancakes, the Saturday soccer games." Sophie was crying openly now. "That is when I knew. We were always enough. We just had to find someone smart enough to see it." Lily grinned. "So I guess what I am saying is, welcome to the family, Sophie. Try not to burn too many pancakes." The yard erupted in laughter and tears. Sophie knelt down and hugged Lily tight. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too." Lily pulled back. "Now kiss Dad already so we can have cake." More laughter. Ryan pulled Sophie to her feet, cupped her face in his hands. "Ready to be stuck with us forever. I have been ready since the day I met you." They kissed as the sun set behind the oak tree, as their friends and family cheered, as Lily made exaggerated gagging sounds that only made them kiss longer. It was not the wedding Sophie might have had in Miami. No penthouse venue, no celebrity guest list, no designer everything. It was better. It was real. It was home. 2 years later, on a warm evening in Portland, Sophie sat on the porch with her hand resting on her pregnant belly. The baby was due in 6 weeks. A boy, they had found out. Lily had already claimed naming rights. She was lobbying hard for Orion after her favorite constellation. Inside, Ryan was finishing the dishes. She could hear him humming to himself some old song she did not recognize. Lily was in the backyard catching fireflies in a jar. Sophie watched her stepdaughter running across the grass jar held high, laughing at nothing and everything. In a few years, Lily would be a teenager, probably too cool for fireflies. But right now, she was still a kid, still full of wonder, still believing in magic. The screen door creaked as Ryan came out to join her. "Firefly, count 14 last I heard." He sat down beside her, taking her hand. "How are you feeling, Huge?" "Uncomfortable. Happy." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Really, really happy." They watched Lily together as the sky turned from blue to purple to star-scattered black. "I was thinking about that night in Miami," Ryan said quietly. "Standing outside your door." Sophie tensed slightly. Even now, 2 years later, that memory carried weight. "I heard wrong," Ryan continued. "But I am glad I did." She turned to look at him. "Why?" "Because if I had not walked away, I would not have come back. And if I had not come back, none of this would exist." He gestured at the yard, the house, the daughter catching fireflies, the sun growing inside her. "I had to lose you to find you." Sophie kissed him softly. "I am sorry it took me so long to let you in. I am sorry I did not stay to hear the whole story. We are even then." Lily came running up, jar full of glowing lights. "Sophie, look, I caught 20. That is amazing, sweetheart. Can I show the baby?" Lily held the jar up to Sophie's belly. "Hey, little brother, these are fireflies. They are kind of like stars, but smaller. When you come out, I will teach you how to catch them." Sophie's eyes filled with tears. Pregnancy hormones, she told herself, but it was more than that. It was this moment, this family, this life she had never known she wanted until it was hers. Ryan pulled both of them close. Sophie on one side, Lily on the other, the baby kicking between them. "Best view in the world," he said. And it was. Not the Miami skyline, not the glittering towers of a life Sophie had left behind. Just a porch and Portland string lights in the trees, the people she loved most surrounding her. She thought about the woman she had been 2 years ago, successful but lonely, building walls to keep the world out. She thought about Ryan standing in a hangar with grease on his hands, believing he was not enough. They had both been wrong. They had both been broken. But somehow together they had become whole. "I love you," Sophie whispered into the growing darkness. "I love you too," Ryan and Lily said at the same time. And somewhere in her belly the baby kicked as if adding his agreement. The fireflies glowed, the stars came out, and on a creaky porch in a small house in Portland, a family held on tight to everything they had found. Sometimes the words that shatter us are not the whole story. Sometimes we have to walk away before we can find our way back. And sometimes the small life we think is not enough is exactly where love has been waiting all along. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and join our family for more stories that remind you that you are always enough. Drop a like if you believe in second chances and share this video with someone who needs to hear that their story is not over yet. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more heartwarming stories to you every week. Thank you for watching, and remember, the best chapters of your life might still be unwritten.